again, like I said, with America, how we look weak as far as a country to others, Black people look weak in front of others because our feelings are always hurt. I ain't never been around so many woe is me Negroes in my life.
I don't think anybody is saying that we're still slaves. I think that it's a part of
you sound like a slave, Kendra.
It is the Proud Family. Now, the Proud Family is really geared towards kids. So I can, they're not on there cussing, and it's just weird. It's a kid, Kyla Pratt, if you remember who she is.
Right, yeah.
So it's geared towards kids. And so the Proud Family was something that I used to watch younger as a kid. I mean, it's been around for a very, very long time. And then I'm like, some of the stuff that the song's talking about, and we haven't atoned.
Right. I saw it.
About atonement. And it's just no. And so it's getting a whole lot of backlash, and I think rightfully so.
The descendants of slaves in America have earned reparations for their suffering and continue to earn reparations every moment we spend submerged in the systemic prejudice, racism, and white supremacy that America was founded with and still has not atoned for.
I want to talk, Kendra. Do you think this is appropriate? I want to get your thoughts on this, Kendra.
Do I think it's appropriate for children? No. But do I think that there's validity in what they're saying to spark a conversation among adults? I do. But I don't think that a 7 or 8 year old would understand what they're saying. But as an adult, I want to say that the Proud Family is geared towards children, but I think the reboot of it is more for adults versus the children, even though it's on Disney Plus.
But on Disney Plus?
Yeah, it's on Disney Plus.
Oh, it's geared towards it's on Disney Plus.
Yeah, it's on Disney Plus. So I think
maybe more family oriented than children or adults, like for all ages.
Right. I think it's one of those things. For me, it's something that if you watch it with your children, then it's a great space to have conversation.
So how would you make a conversation about that topic there, that clip? What would you say to your child who just sat and watched that?
I mean, I think that
appropriate conversation there.
I mean, the thing about it is, to be Black in this country, there are, if we talk about reparations, Black people really ain't got none, but if we look at Jewish people, they done received their just due time and time again. So I think that
excuse me, the Jewish people who received the reparations were the actual descendants of people.
I understand, but the majority of Black people are descendants of slaves. If you trace it, no, I can say
it's not exactly like that. So the Holocaust happened.
I can say that I'm a descendant of a slave because my just 2 greats was literally the first free person in my family. So I can say that I am a direct descendant of slavery. Now, what I'm trying to say is,
but this is taught to every Black person who descendant or not descendant.
It's not being taught. It's family tree. Like, it's the fact
that perpetual victimhood mentality is taught to every Black person. My father
didn't go to school with white people until he was in high school. That is my family history. That's not something that was taught. That's something that my parents and my grandparents lived.
But let me ask you, what are you saying though? Okay, what do you?
I think that. I don't think the talking to children about reparations per se, they ain't gonna get it. I think that the episode was geared more towards adults. Now, having conversations about being Black in our country, those is a conversation starter. I mean, we have to. If you are Black in this country, you have to have those conversations of what it means and what it reflects. You can't just send your children.
I'm not
saying that it should be, oh well, we
no. What does it mean?
We got to go down to the people.
I want to get specific because a lot of times what we do is we talk in generalization and it doesn't mean anything. So what does it mean to you to be Black in this country?
To me, to be Black in this country is to be able to be my authentic self. I don't feel like I should have to enter into any room and to have to code switch. I don't feel like I should have to, and that's not being is not saying that
code switch. Where you going when you got a code switch?
Baby, I live in the South. I grew up and I was one of 7 black
Kendra, you're lighter than I am. You're lighter than I am, and I don't code switch. And I don't code switch.
Well, what I'm saying, I am very much lighter than you.
So I mean, I don't have the quote unquote the ability to where you would be considered passing. I don't have that.
It has nothing to do with complexion.
No, my point is that historically she would be able to pass, and I wouldn't.
But here's
historically, she would be able to pass because her skin color. I don't do that when I'm black.
If it's a whole bunch of us, yeah, I might pass. But when I'm one of 7, baby, it don't matter. As soon as they see the little piece of crinkle in my hair, I'm black.
What specific situation have you had to code switch? Whatever
I grew up in a city where I went to school with 7 other black people. When I was in the 3rd grade, they had a meeting with my parents and said that because I was outspoken, that not because I had any educational issues, they wanted to put me on Ritalin. My parents took me out of the school, put me in a Christian school where I was the only black person. And my brother was, I think we were the only 2 black people.
So how did you code switch?
Because you have to learn that when you are in it, I went to church. I grew up in black church. So you grow up and you learn, the talking, that you carry yourself in a way. But when you're around people who do not look like you, and a lot of times, especially in the South, and I done been the N-word, little girl, you people, all the things, and I'm passable.
Well, when I was overseas, isn't that normally called when you're in Rome, you do as the Romans do?
Because when I have to do as the Romans, when I'm a,
but my point is that when you're in different environments,
one second, let her finish. What are you saying, Shelly?
I said the point I'm making is that when we're in different environments, doesn't the culture affect us? And that way you have to kind of adapt to that culture to some degree.
But why should we have to?
Because let me say this.
There's a difference into being rude. Like I shouldn't enter in any space and be rude. Manners and etiquette is one thing.
You said that you were taken out of the school because you were opinionated. That had nothing to do with code switching.
No, what I'm saying
it had nothing to do with you not being your authentic self.
You grow up in a space where no one looks like you. I did not have a black teacher until I went to an HBCU. But you guys grow up in spaces where in predominantly black spaces, you guys have people that you can identify with and aspire to. When
I don't want to, not all of them.
Not all, but
I have a question, Kendra.
There's only one. You got what's the
question? 1 second. Courtney had something, and I want to get you in, Yana. What were you saying?
Well, I still don't think, Kendra, that you're answering the question on what it means for you to be black in America. I'm from the South as well. Right. I grew up in rural South where Confederate flags are just a flying. So I understand not being the only black girl in a situation. However, what the culture is, there's a business culture that you adhere to. That means your dialect, it's not talking ghetto. Because as a business owner, if you come to my place and want to get employed, talking about what's up, my girl, I'm not hiring you. You can talk that when you get home around your people. But this is a place of business. How you look matters. There's business etiquette on how you look.
I understand that, but you got to realize that coming from we had to have a crown act because I can't wear because natural hair is seen as ghetto or locks is seen as unprofessional. So me saying exactly, but the thing about it is how many times prior to it being a culture making it okay. Back 30 years ago, if I would have showed up with locks, I wouldn't be hired.
I agree there.
And so growing up in that space, we don't have the freedom of I don't even want to say self-expression, but it's self-expression. to say that my locks or if I showed up with my natural hair is unprofessional because you don't understand it or it doesn't look the way when it's what God gave me and grew out of my head, that's wrong. So what I got to do, we got to go and perm my hair.
No. Let me jump in there. Okay,
I've never had a perm, and I've had many professionals.
So one thing I would like to say is, first of all, yes, there are situations and areas and places that do discriminate, in all races. We're not saying there's no racism is not there anymore, and again, now versus I'd say 30 years ago, 20 years ago, we've come a long way.
Mm-hmm.
But today, you can go and really you should. Some of these natural hairstyles, y'all look a mess. Okay, some of these people with the dreads, they look a mess. Okay, but and they were the ones that made it bad for the rest of us, like me, Shelly, and you. People are going in looking a mess. Where I don't care how kinky your hair is,
right? No,
it look right.
And my thing is, but what I'm talking about, like you said, we've come a long way in 20, 30 years. So what I'm saying is my perspective growing up, I grew up when it wasn't acceptable.
But
so now sitting here now as a
proud boys, what is it? Proud
family. No, I think that we have to address the past.
What in 2022 or 2023 are you saying where you have to
I'm saying that the conversation that is had from that is this is where we came from and this is where you guys are. This is where we've grown to. That's where the conversation when watching it can say I said, it's a conversation.
That Proud Family episode was pushing this narrative that we all oppressed. We got issues today. It wasn't taught. I mean,
we do still have some issues today, but at the end of the day, if we can't acknowledge where we got to start where we started from, and that's not saying that it's anybody's fault.
How long we gonna keep doing that?
But I'm saying history is history, and history is bound to repeat itself if you don't address the history. So
we've already addressed
the history
all
the time. Trust me, I have come to this country. I came here as a teenager. You think I have not learned about slavery and oppression of Black people? I mean, I didn't even grow up here. And of course I know about it. This is not something that is being suppressed. And right now I work with kids. I work with kids. Most of the kids that I don't even have white kids that I tutor. All the kids that I tutor are minority kids. And trust me, none of them really, I mean, they know about this, but they don't need to know over and over that they, their ancestors were oppressed. And, they already know, they've learned it. But I see how these public schools are constantly reminding them of the oppression in the past and current. They're saying that there's current oppression. And also from an immigrant perspective, I have students that are from Africa, the immigrants from Africa. They came here to succeed. They're not here to, worry about what happened and the injustices. Injustices have happened in every country. And for example, I have a story. There was a lady, an African lady, who had a choice to pick from her job which holiday she didn't, she basically had to choose which one she wasn't going to take because there was like a limited number of holidays they could keep. And she picked she said Juneteenth. She said she didn't, she was like, I'll work on that day. I don't, it's not my holiday. And she got yelled at by her co-workers saying that, how dare you say that? We have been oppressed. And she came home like, why are they attacking me? This African lady that, it's like, I didn't do anything. Like, so it's like this kind of mentality that is constantly that, feeling that oppression is happening. Children. Yeah. And pushing it on the children. The children need to feel that they can do anything, that they can succeed if they work hard, if they put themselves together, however they want to do their hair, make it look nice, dress nice, start a business, get a job. That's what they need to be taught, not this negative agenda that is actually oppressing their energy. Like if you speak from like an energetic perspective,
it takes
that
away
does
from their
not
freedom.
uplift the person's spirit. That suppresses the person's spirit.
I didn't even teach my children before they started school. I didn't even teach them anything about slavery or the experience that some Black Americans had here. I taught them that we were Africans, we were king and queens, we had money, we bought Mensa Musa, like all of these different people who were actually known for a better thing than just slavery. Like we just so happened to come through that, but we're not slaves now. We're not oppressed now.
Yeah, and overcoming the struggles. That's what needs to be taught. Every culture had struggles that had been overcome, and that can be taught. Absolutely.
I agree with you, T, as far as creating and teaching about who we were prior to slavery. But my thing to that is, when is the last time, when it comes to education, that the school has told you anything about Mansa Musa? I ain't never heard.
That's why we don't want critical race theory in the schools. That's why we don't want critical race theory in the schools. Don't teach them anything. Don't teach them about slavery. Don't teach them about the queer. What did you say, Courtney? The queer
theory.
Queer theory. Like, why do we need to know about that?
Well, let me move. I want to move on because we're going along the same lines. This is actually along the same lines of Kendra's story this week. Take a look at this clip.
Black girl, you know your roots. It's February.
Your mom is never letting anyone in.
You're nothing but a slave. And after this, you're doing my laundry.
The way she just takes this shit, bro.
I'm black and I'm
proud. My mom just texted me.
What did she say?
So Kendra, I want to get your thoughts. So, can you just talk about why you thought that was important for us to discuss this week?
They go to a private Catholic school, and when the school was made aware of it, they didn't take any action or really condemn it, really. And I think that's really sad. I think that for as much as we say we've come so far, when we see videos like that of teenagers who are doing things like that, we clearly haven't gone far enough. And it shows that clearly there is a segment of our population who still do not value the humanity of Black people. Because if you value the humanity of Black people, things like that would not happen.
I want to get response. I want to get your response, Shelly.
Okay. So I saw that clip, and let me say this. I think it was racism, not the way that is reported mostly in the media, right? The popular way. What I think it is I think it is how white people see Black people, how we see ourselves. They're mocking how we see ourselves. So they're making fun, a parody of us, and how we always claiming to be victim. And this is their version acting out what they see us doing. It's stupid. It's foolish. And I don't think their school should have done anything. They were at home. They were not on school property, and it was not during the school day, as far as I could tell. But they were at home. If anybody did anything, maybe their parents should have. But again, this is more of an indictment on us than it is those foolish teenage girls.
I want to get your thoughts, T. Do you feel like this is an indictment on us, or you think that was racist?
I think it was teenagers being teenagers. Of course it had something to do with race, because I agree with Shelly, it's them mocking us or mocking how we see ourselves or mocking even what they learned in critical race theory in schools about slaves. How about that?
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this, Courtney? If you saw that, how does that make you feel? And do you think it's significant?
I mean, I felt no ways, because Black people, we do it to white folks too. Dave Chappelle, one of the best stuff that he's done, arguably, is when he's in whiteface and he's acting like a white man. So is anything gonna happen to Dave Chappelle when he does it? No, because it's comedy. These girls, here's the thing. If if our culture would chill out on being so emotionally driven off of everything hurts our damn feelings. And again, like I said, with America, how we look weak as far as a country to others, Black people look weak in front of others because our feelings are always hurt. I ain't never been around so many woe is me Negroes in my life. So what someone don't like you? So
It's
what
getting even worse.
you? So the hell what?
It's getting worse. Like the more money that Black people have, I'm about to say something. The more money that people have, the worse we get.
About this video, I mean, it's really unfortunate. I mean, I feel bad for the girl that is being bullied, obviously, and she doesn't look like she's, she wanted this to happen. And it's unfortunate that teenagers can be so cruel and so crude. And thinking back to when I was a teenager, these kind of things happen. Teenagers, they're very stupid. They say all kinds of things. They haven't even formed a personality at this point. So they're picking up, all these different messages from media, from wherever, and then they're acting it out. This video made me think of a situation in 2017 when some Black teenagers brutally beat up a white boy who was special needs. And they were saying to him, like they were forcing him to say, like they forced him against the wall and said, you need to say, I love Black people. And he didn't even know what the heck was going on. So it's unfortunate that these things are happening. And the more that we perpetuate this like racial divide and anger between races, I think kids, they act out what they see.
Mm-hmm. To me, it's like, so what? So what they did it? I mean, to me, what racism was a big deal back in the day because we did not have the control, we did not have the backup of the legal system when racist things occurred. That's when you could say, in my opinion, there was systemic racism because the laws and the policies and the rules within the United States did not back up or protect us from racism, from things like that. But now, if you are discriminated against, if someone denies you employment because of your race, because of your gender, because of your sex, you can get into trouble. I mean, these things occur. We are never going to extinguish racism. I mean, these stupid girls, they are nothing to me. They're below me. They do nothing for me. I don't care. You can have these videos. People can be racist as the day is long. I'm sure some people that work for me are racist. You have no control of me. I don't care because I know who I am. So to me, it's like when people get hung up on racism, on discrimination, they begin to they could perpetuate this victimhood. We are not victims. I'm sure many of us on the call here are bosses in our life. What is a racist going to do to me? Nothing. Nothing.
We're victims of our own victimhood.
Right. That's what I said. Exactly. That's why they're mocking us.
Talk about what she say? What I keep forgetting the name of the word. What Kendra said as far as going into rooms and having to
code switching.
Code switching for what? When I walk in a room, all eyes are on me.
What does that mean, by the way?
What? And I agree with that, KJ. Now,
no way.
But what does that mean? What is code switching?
Let me tell you one other thing, because it's so funny when people, especially Democrats and liberals, they talk about Black Republicans. Do you understand the respect we get from white Republicans? When a Black conservative walks into a room with white Republicans, I sat one day and watched these white women literally claw over what's our girl?
Kim
Klacik.
Oh, Kim Klacik.
Are you crazy? it comes from within.
Exactly.
Hold your head up high. We are not shaming for nobody. I certainly am not, and no one on this call should.
I agree with that.
I'm the same from the streets, from the hood to the boardroom. You're gonna get through here.
And I have never gotten nor feel the need to get validation from a white person, whether for victim mentality, reparations, whatever. My identity does not come from what white people think of me. I don't give a damn what they think of me. As a matter of fact, I don't give a damn what 99% of the people that don't care about me think about me. They don't do anything. Like my mother was saying, their shit stinks too.
Yes,
I agree with that. My perspective and my point is, we're here now, and we're the evolution of our parents and our grandparents. Like I said, as the granddaughter of someone who grew up during segregation and growing up in the Deep South, where Confederate flags fly, their perspective on how you act is very different than what ours is now. We've evolved to this place. But when you sit back and you talk to your elders, because the wisdom of the elders, they still have that mindset and mentality that code switching is still a thing for them. My grandmother will be 80 this year.
What you got a code switch for?
I have a question.
The one you get at the house playing cards is not going to be the one that you get when she's around people who are non-melanated, and she's like me, her same color. But that's just how she grew up, because she grew up in a space where things were segregated. She's never, and they still have that mindset. We have the beauty
and the mindset. What is she, cowering or? I
don't want to say cowering, but my brother tried to explain the Republican and Democratic system to her, and let's just say that we had to change the subject because we was going nowhere fast.
Let's explain. Let's talk about code switching, because I know it was asked, what is code switching? So it's the idea. Code switching is I can't be, or I can't sound or look like my authentic self. In order for me to be able to succeed or get a business, I have to switch up who I am and sound different. So instead of me going to the store and be like, "Hi, I'm Courtney," it's, "Oh my God, I'm Courtney. I am here." And then when I get back home, all right, now I'm done.
All right, I'm back. Right. And I think that happens more in the South.
Okay, but immigrants have to do that like 1,000 times more.
That's called assimilation at another part of the spectrum is called assimilation.
Right. I mean, in order to succeed, every immigrant, needs to, I cannot sound fully American ever. I'm not even able to do that because I didn't grow up here. I cannot change my accent. So I need to deal with the fact that this is how I sound.
Right.
So,
and now
but that doesn't make me less than, or I don't need to feel.
But what we're saying is, when you grow up,
can see what we look like
in the Deep South. When you grow up in the deeper South, we were it was part of who you. It's how things were done.
My
grandmother didn't have to do that.
I have a final point. Kendra, for most part. Look, our ancestors, God rest their souls, they fought the civil rights, they fought for freedom. I don't think for 1 minute that they would be too happy. They might be turning in their graves if they knew that they had their descendants sitting here looking to them and still saying we're in slavery, when they fought and lived and died to make sure that we were not. How ungrateful, not only short-sighted, but how ungrateful and useless is us to keep looking back to say that we're still slaves when they literally died to free us.
I don't think anybody is saying that we're still slaves. I think that it's a part of.
You sound like a slave, Kendra.
I don't think I said no. I don't think I sound like a slave. Like I said, we grew up in a
yes, you do. You sound like a slave. That's why you have to code switch, because you sound like a slave, talking about master this and master that.
But what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that as a 34-year-old Kendra, that's what I do now. What I'm saying is, growing up, that is what we were taught. But my dad grew up in segregation. Hello. So,
but you didn't. You didn't.
No, I didn't. Well, who taught me though?
But you did not. You are free. We are free. You are free. We are free.
We gotta go. We gotta move on. We gotta move on.
Let me say this, Kendra, because I understand what you're saying, but the thing is, we are free, and we are not living like our ancestors did, and they paved the way for us to be here, and it's incumbent upon us that we continue the progression of us instead of the regression, and continuously teaching about the woe is me, continuously telling our children that they are oppressed when they are not. That's just really scary. I know that you're not. But again, going back to the story with the Proud family and all this, but the continuation of still talking about and ingraining in our children that they are oppressed when they are not is not progressing us.